What up, guys? Today we're going to be reviewing episode 16 of Dragon Ball Daima, and I'll be going through what happened in this episode. And I also want to talk about next week's episode and the preview that we saw in this one, because it is pretty interesting seeing what's going to be happening in that one. But before I do that, I want to give a big shout out to a couple new subscribers of mine. One by the name of Panda Monk, the next one by X_X, and Gabriel 1x1. So big shout out to you three for subscribing to this channel. It means a lot. Now, let's get into this episode. Unlike the last three episodes that where I personally have been either annoyed by or kind of disappointed in or, just bored by, this episode was actually a little bit better. I wouldn't say it was like a perfect episode or it was like an unbelievably great episode, but it was at least a decent episode. It was far better than the last three. The last two or the first two from the three bad ones, they were just really boring. And then the last week's episode was kind of boring, but it was also annoying due to the fact that it was the power scaling was kind of dumb and didn't really make much sense. But this episode, there wasn't anything too bad. It was just I felt like they could have done a little bit more. This episode did feel like more of a setup episode. It was just setting up for the next episode, which the next episode seems like it's going to be a big one, and I can't wait for that one. But this episode it was decent. It was okay, but it wasn't anything special, and it was just a setup episode. Which on one hand, I'm okay with setup episodes because obviously that's just how shows, especially animes, go. Where you set up for the bigger thing. There's certain episodes where it's just leading up and building up to certain things. But the problem with that, with Dragon Ball Daima is we're literally towards the tail end of the series. There's literally only 4 episodes left. And I think that at this point, they shouldn't be doing no setup episodes. It's not like, it's following a manga where, they have to wait for the manga to catch up or let the manga get ahead to a certain point so they can get past and they need to, pad out the episodes and the timing. They don't need to do that for this show. And I felt like they did in some scenes, not as egregiously at the previous episodes, but still enough to be like, come on, at this point, we're towards the last few episodes of this, show. We're getting done with it, and we have another setup episode in episode 16 when there's only 4 more episodes left. It is a little annoying, and I hate having to wait for the next week to see something cool and be like, oh, this week nothing really crazy happened. But it wasn't too bad. So it starts off with them progressing further to get to, Goma and Degisu. As they move on forward, the his elite guards show up to fight against them. Vegeta just pulls up and uh it's a little bit funny seeing them fight, but I felt like the fight between them, it was obviously gonna be a wash. So it was like they could have just, I don't know, just skipped ahead over like I don't know, like, sometimes in shows and animes when they're about to start a fight, and then they just skip and just show the person completely beaten up. They could have just done that to, save up time. But they want to show a little bit of them do stuff. It was a little bit goofy and funny, but nothing too crazy. Vegeta was pretty much easily taking them down, and then they started using their actual magical spells, but something happened and the captain hurt his hand. I don't know what happened there, but his attack went off, and then they captured them. They got into the place they were looking for. Degsu found out that they're coming after him, so he's running away with Dende. He's trying to get Dende away from there, and he's trying to leave now because they're coming after him. And the other girl that was sent out by Degsu to get the third eye has come back, and she's in the castle trying to find whoever it is, Degsu or Goma, to give them the third eye. So she's wandering around, and then we have the other characters wandering around trying to find him. They find Degsu as he's trying to lead with Dende. He puts a gun to Dende's head, as we saw in the preview for the last week's one, and he's starting to end him. And then we have Pansy hiding as she's trying to sneak around to get him, to get a jump on him, and he's threatening, to take him out and stuff. And basically, he's getting reprimanded by his brother, Shin. Shin's like, look, you were always really ambitious, but you're being ridiculous now. You're doing too much. You're pushing it. And he's like, what is your goal? And then he said, I want to be, the king of the demon world, which is like, damn, everybody wants to be the king of the demon world. We had, Deborah betraying his father. Then we literally had, obviously, Gomo becoming the king. Then we had Adisu was plotting this entire show, trying to become the king too. And then now we have Degsu also having a plot to become the ruler of the demon world. They all just want to be the king. And yeah, so he betrayed him. He was using him and he was gonna leave with Dende, but they stopped him. They got in his way. And Pansy was trying to attack him, but he pulled a gun out on her. So then Grollo took the guy's hat, Hibisu's hat, and threw it at him. Then a Piccolo came in and chopped him in the neck, knocked him out, which I thought was kind of funny because if you guys remember when Goma and Dengsu used the Dragon Balls, or trying to use the Dragon Balls, and Dende tried to stop them, he came in and he chopped him. He karate chopped him, knocked him down. Uh, and then it's funny to see Piccolo do the same thing to him because he's also Namekian. So I guess because Piccolo, the way I see his relationship with Dende is he's like his big bro. So he's like, you hit my little bro, I'm gonna hit you back. So he big broed him, which was pretty funny. But yeah, he got knocked out. They got him back. Everything is good. Everything is great. He's back with them. The only thing I thought was kind of weird is why were they so afraid of him putting the gun to Denny's head? With their speed, they should have been able to like get behind him and grab the gun from him. We've seen characters move so fast that they could do that. Like it wasn't going to be a threat anyway, but the rest of the characters weren't moving or doing anything. Also, Goku didn't really do much in this episode. He just ate some chips and shit, and he didn't do much. Vegeta did some stuff with finding the Royal Guards. And Piccolo, the only thing he's ever done in this entire series is like just karate chopping Degasu. So I guess he did something now. But yeah, Goma now is like he's tripping, he's scared. He's like, what the hell do I do? He's kind of happy that Degasu got what he deserved, but he's scared now that they're coming up to him. So now the girl's leading up. She comes to him, says, "Hey, here go the thing. I just want my payments." She's trying to leave. And now we have a little bit of a segment wasting time on him trying to get the eye out. A little goofy scene with him using like different tools or breaking it. He can't break it out. It was like, it's funny because at that point, Goku's like, we got Dende now. Uh, let's go after Goma first before we get the Dragon Ball. And then, Grollo's like, no, you can't go after him. You can't underestimate him. You have to turn into adults before you do it. I'm just like, why? Like, this guy doesn't seem that powerful. I don't know why. I mean, hell, he couldn't even pull the thing out of the belts. Like, he wasn't even strong enough to break the belt and just take it out, but whatever. He went, took a shit, got an idea in his head to use the toilet plunger, so he tried to plunge it out, failed the first time, got out the second time. Then told the girl to put it in his head, and it failed a couple times, probably put his head. And the reason why I'm mentioning this is kind of a little bit important. I will be talking about it after I'm done with the review itself, but it's a little bit important, or the recap. But she puts it in his head, and then now he's starting to grow. His body's changing. He's getting bigger and bigger and bigger. That's how the episode ended, where he got supersized. But as he was doing that, Goku and his team, they were trying to get the Dragon Ball from the third Tamagami, or the first Tamagami they called, but it was the third one that they encountered. And they noticed the Dragon Ball was missing. He's like, yeah, the victor took it already, and they were too late. So like, what the hell? What's happening? And then Arisu pulled up with she pulled up with both the Majins, the Majiku and Majiju. So next episode is going to be Arisu's plan finally going to fruition, with her having both Majindu and Majiku fight against the rest of them. So we're going to have a whole lot of brawl between them. And there was something that I noticed that I was like, wait, this is a little weird. That doesn't make any sense, but maybe there might be something to it. But she's finally, enacting her plot, and now they're going to be fighting, and they finally met up, and we finally going to get to see their interaction with each other. And both of them are fighting against them. I think, there's leaks about them combining and fusing, and they said, no, these leaks are not true, but it was proven true because the design for both Majin and Majin and their names was shown in that thing. They denied it and tried to ignore it, but it was proven. So they also had an image of them fusing. So most likely they're going to fuse. They're going to be not strong enough. I think next episode they're going to fight is going to be a pretty decent battle, but they're going to eventually not be able to beat them. So they're going to have to probably fuse. And then that's going to be probably on episode 18 where they fuse. And then they're fighting the fusion thing. And maybe 19 is where they fully beat him. And then Goma jumps in and they have to fight against Goma. And then episode 20 is something, whatever. They're going to try to wrap up the entire show as a whole and try to finish it, whatever. But yeah, that was pretty much the episode. Now, when I was talking about the whole King Goma thing, the reason why that's a little important is this is a little bit of the problem I've been having with Dragon Ball Daima, and it wasn't that bad in this episode, but it was pretty egregious throughout the entire show as a whole. And that's wasting time on pointless scenes. That whole scene with him there, it just illustrates how much they waste time, and it's so unnecessary because, like I said, normally with other animes, it makes sense why they waste time and pad it out because of the manga and all that. But this one doesn't have a manga. It does not need to pad it out. So I don't know why they do that. So normally, if I see a scene where they do some goofy stuff like this, where he's trying to take it out, or the plunger fails a couple of times to try to catch it, and then he has somebody else trying to put it in his head, and then it fails a couple of times. Normally, I would have been like, okay, that's whatever, because that's just, the show is taking their time and building up. I can't be too that. But when you don't have to do that and you're doing that, it's just like, why are we wasting time? Get on with it. And that's what I feel like about a lot of these scenes in the show. It's like unnecessary scenes. And it's funny because a lot of the Daima fanboys now are saying stupid shit like, you guys don't understand. You guys just like, Dragon Ball for just pure fighting. If it's not pure fighting and it's storytelling, you don't like it. It's like, no, it's not the storytelling is probably fucking idiot. I've been praising the storytelling. I've been praising, well, not like praising the storytelling itself, but I'm saying whenever they would like develop the story, like world building, and we would have more lore dumps and stuff like that, I would praise it. I like that stuff. I don't have a problem with that. The thing I have a problem is with wasting time on pointless scenes, and that's the problem that people are saying. But a lot of these fanboys they like to make a straw man argument and misconstrue what you're saying and try to make it sound like you just want to see a bunch of fights. No, I want to see them progress and not waste time. And this is one of the reasons. This is the things that I don't like, and a lot of people don't like, is the fact that they waste time on stupid things like this. Like, do we really need to see her walking around trying to find him? Do we really need to see him trying to take it out and fail multiple times and then use the plunger that failed in that time and then trying to get her to put his head and trying to make a deal with her? Do we need to see these other guys, do their pose to, get to the fight, wasting time with them fighting, even though they're not going to win? It's just going to be a little goofy thing. We didn't need to do those stuff. We could have like sped up certain things. Like I get some stuff you need to take time to, stretch it out and let the scene breathe. But other times you just need to like just cut out shit that's not necessary. And I felt like that's why this episode was such a setup episode, because they clearly obviously had the setup for the next episode, but also they were doing stuff that they didn't need to do to extend it out simply because they knew that when you do like a setup episode, you can't have the interesting stuff happening in here somewhat and then go on to do fully the interesting things in the next episode, right? So what they do is they try to make that episode progress, but also be a little bit mundane and not have too much of the stuff, and have the next episode contain all the crazy things. Where instead of that, you could do like a little bit of stuff that's progressing, a little bit crazy things here, and then the next episode it goes even crazier. But they would rather just make this a little bit boring, and then make the next episode completely exciting instead of make this episode a little bit more exciting and taking a little bit of excitement away from the next one. But yeah, as a whole, I'm not mad. I just felt like it was kind of annoying a little bit. It's like, come on, man. Nobody's trying to sit here and try an entire episode and watch stupid pointless scenes like this that don't really matter. Like, what do we gain from him struggling to take it out and then put it in? Like, the only reason they did that is like I said, they don't want to show the cool things, because if they do that, then he already has, and they have some runtime with him transforming and showcasing his power. We will get a little bit more, but they want to save that all up for the next episode, where now we get to see not only has he been powered up and we get to see what he's capable of, but we also get to see the Majin Do thing and Majin Ku thing. But it's like, we're already going to get to see that anyway. So why not just show a little bit of Goma's display of power in this episode with getting it, and just show him getting it a little bit early on, and then have the next episode just purely that fight, because it's not like Goma's going to show up and fight them in that episode anyway. But yeah, that was my problem with it. I felt like if they cut out scenes like that, the show could be a lot better. If they condensed stupid parts of that was not necessary and just, got more to it, that's the problem. I feel like they take too much time on shit that we don't need. And if they got to it quicker, it would have been better. But the next episode's preview is pretty interesting to see the fight. That fight looks cool. I don't think Majin Buu and Majin Buu are going to be a big enough threat, because they're only Super Saiyan in that next episode. But it's okay, because we already know they're gonna fuse. So they're gonna get beaten up. They're gonna get whooped. They're gonna get fused somehow. Maybe Odissu might have one of the bugs to help them fuse together. But whatever. They're gonna fuse, and then we're gonna have people have been guessing that we might have a fusion again between Goku and Vegeta, maybe a mini Vegito or whatever. But we will most likely see them fuse. So what might happen might be Goku and Vegeta and the rest of them might overpower them. Then they will have to fuse, and then they'll be overpowering them. So then to get the, change the tides, they'll have to fuse so they can overpower them, and there'll be a whole battle between two fusions. Have it end with the main characters win, and then have after that, like I said, Goma show up because then I'll be like around episode 19, have him beaten up. Episode 20, you can try to fully conclude the fight, and then basically just finish everything up in that episode. So that would be pretty interesting. But one thing that I saw was pretty crazy was in the preview we saw Grollo fighting with them against Majin Buu and Majin Buu, which is like he works for Arisu. At that point, I would have thought that he would have just been like, you know, my job is done. She got the first Dragon Ball, and I already got the other two here, and I got them to my boss. So I'm gonna betray them and work with her. But he was actually fighting alongside with them against them. But maybe it's maybe he that's still part of the plan that, hey, look, even when you come up and meet up with us, fight with them to help them out, and then while you're fighting with them and they think that you're on their team, at that point you can sneak around and sneak the other two Dragon Balls, because we already have the first one. All you have to do now is work with them, trick them into believing that you're on their side, help them fight with us, have the fight happening, and as they're distracted in the midst of the battle, you can stake the other two Dragon Balls, then we'll have the three, and then I'll let Majin Buu and Majin Buu do their thing to fight against the rest of them. Well, you give me the Dragon Balls, I'll make the wish, and then, get what I want. And I think that even if, like, let's say Goku and them are overpowering them, she'll just help them fuse. And once they fuse, then they'll be a bigger threat. And that moment will give her enough time to basically do it. So maybe he might betray them there. But when I saw him working with them, it was like, at this point, why are you still, working with them? Why don't you just go full out? Like, yeah, I was, helping out the bad guys the entire time. So I want to know when he's going to reveal he's betrayed them. But I feel like that's part of her plan for next episode, where she's just, you know, she's plotting to, like, because she doesn't know how powerful of her creations are going to be. So this is just like an insurance policy. Like, if they're not strong enough to deal with them, she could at least use them as a distraction to use Gorilla to steal for her, and then give her the Dragon Balls to make her wish. I don't know what her wish is going to be. Just be the ruler. Even if she is the ruler and use that wish, that's not going to be enough to help her beat them. Because if they overpower her creations and she becomes the king, what does that even matter? They can easily beat her. Like, it's not like she's gonna have really an advantage there. But few things I want to see towards the end of this series. Only a couple things. One, I just want to see how this dragon looks like. I want to see how he looks, his name, what wishes he's capable of. We're definitely going to see that, but I just want to see all that stuff. I want to see Go fully turn and betray them, or see if he changes his mind and works for them, because he doesn't seem like a bad guy. And I also want to know why he's doing what he's doing. I want to see more Arisu's plan. I want to see Goma's power, like this underestimated power, what he's capable of, what he's magically capable of, especially with the third eye. I want to see what the third eye is, capable of also. I also want to see Goku and Vegeta fuse. I want to see them both fight in Super Saiyan 3 also. I want to see the fusion of Majin Buu and Majin Buu. And we might not get this, but I want to see it was Majin Raimus, right? I want to see Majin Raimus, like, if he comes out of nowhere or appears, or we get to see more about him, because we got only like a little bit of a hint and talking about him, and we didn't get to see anything about him specifically. But yeah, I'm at this point, I'm kind of just hoping we get to at least see him. Uh, if not, it's okay, but those are just a few things that I want to see. And it's nothing too crazy. It's just like, simple shit. But if we were to, because we know we're going to get to see the dragon, obviously. We know we're going to see Arisu's actual full plan. We're going to see Goma's power and probably the third eye. But the Ramus thing, that's one of those things where I don't know if we will. Most likely we might not, but I'm really hoping we do, because honestly, that's going to be amazing and it's going to be cool. I want to know more about his lore, because he has stirred up a lot of confusion within the Dragon Ball community. So I want to know what they're capable of, what he's capable of, and what his goal, what he does. Also, from what I thought, people are assuming that he's only one being. I thought he was like the Supreme Kais where there's multiple of them. So who knows? Maybe there is only one, but I'm leaning more towards like him being like the Supreme Kais where there's multiple of his race and not just one of him. But who knows? So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this review and stay tuned for next time.